Good afternoon. I thought I would start talking a little bit about organizing and notebooks and using notebooks to plan because I realized the other day that I have 9 pages left in my notebook for this term and I need to set up the one for the next term. And so I wanted to share that process with you a little bit. There's background thinking that goes into this, and some of that I'm going to be making available as an article or two, and some of that I'll do an introductory video at another time. But I wanted to first of all introduce my notebook, my brain. I have used a variety of notebooks over the years, but a few years ago I switched to these. They're published by a company called The Book Factory, and they're run by veterans out there in, I believe it's Illinois. And I like these because they're very large, which means that things that I need to put in that are whole page sized, I can fit in the book. The paper is heavyweight. I've used watercolor pencils in it and a variety of like brush tipped pens and such like that. I've not used watercolor. The paper's a little slick for that. But there's plenty of space. And as you can see, when I set up my weeks, I can make them flow however I need to for the amount of work that a particular grade or group has on a particular day. These lines are not, I draw them as I go. So I'm not tied to a certain small amount of space, which was one of the things I always found really frustrating with lesson planning books. And as you can see, as I go through, I put in reflections, I put in articles. Actually, some of the text of the articles I'm working on is in here. Meetings, plans for my to-do list for the week, and so on, all goes into this book. So the question then is, how do I set up a new one, and how do I keep myself straight when I'm working on this? So I wanted to just kind of take you through that process. So I have a new book here, and the first thing that I'm going to do in my new book is I'm going to put in a title page. So my title page is currently blank, and I like to put in as my title page some thought that I want to remember for the term. And the one that I have really been enjoying this year and I keep coming back to, so I'm going to use it again and just copy it out of my old book, is this idea that the way that we educate is in 3 parts. And those parts are, I got the end paper here, I don't want that, I want the next page. And those parts are placere, which means to interest, docere, which means to teach, and finally movere, which means to inspire. And that definition of the purpose of teaching comes to us actually from Cicero in his instructions on rhetoric. So thoughts that have been used by teachers for many, many years. And then once I've got that into my book, just right at the beginning, then the next thing is to create on one side a table of contents, and on the other side a few other thoughts that I want to remember throughout the term. So my table of contents in my old book looks like this. Let's see if I can move it over. There we go. And you can see that it just gives, okay, the daily schedule can be found here, and the chore list can be found there, and so on, right down through the end of the book. I'm actually on page 150 at the moment, so I can see I need to update this table of contents, and I just add to it as I need. And if I have a place where, let's say I wrote about exams on page 14, then I wrote about exams for term 1 again on another page, I would just go back and put a comma and put that page in. And that way, that keeps me straight and makes it a little easier to find things, although I often just kind of flip through. And then on the other side, some additional, let's see, I can lower it down. Some additional inspiring thoughts for the term. So I'm going to do that now in my new book. One of the other things I really like about these books is that they lay flat. They have a sewn, what's called a Smith binding, so that they lay completely flat when you open them, and they have a stiff cover and a stiff back. So over here is going to be the table of contents. And you can, of course, decorate up the page. Some years I've decorated up the page. Some years I just kind of leave it be. And then over here I'll probably put some other verses. There's a quote about the children learning and loving literature that I'd like to put on the other side here, but I don't have that in front of me right now. Oh, yes, actually I do. It's right here. It's from the Parents' Review. Pray for the children to prosper in good life and good literature. It was the motto of the PNEU, along with our favorite, I am, I can, I ought, I will. So I'm going to put that over on this side. And I'm going to spend some time this term thinking about what it means for the children to prosper in good life and in good literature. Not by good literature or through good literature, but in good literature. And that was... And of course, I am, I can, I ought, I will. So now my next step is to take a look at last term's schedules and update them and print them and stick them in my book. And I do that in 2 ways. I've already done it, a lot of reflection on that, and I've kept notes. So our schedules look like this. This is the schedule for the morning. This is for Monday. I have one for each day of the week. And the places that are in yellow are classes that I'm teaching. And the places that are in green are classes that everybody can do by themselves. And blue is some point where all of the students are together. And then as you can see down at the bottom, I've made a little schedule of things for the Kinderleben student to do as well. And you'll see that I have written in various places where I made changes. And so that is what I want to update now. I need to update our afternoon schedule too, because my very ambitious afternoon schedule for term 2 did not work the way I wanted it to. So that's a complete rethink. So what I'm going to do, I keep these on just a Google document. I just make them with tables, and I basically take the timetables that I get from the CMEC and adjust them for the fact that I can't teach math and Shakespeare at the same time. So I've got some that I've put notes on. I'm going to check real quick and make sure that I've gotten all my notes from this book into the pages that I have here. And then I'm going to update. No, I haven't quite, because I don't know what I'm sticking in that slot. So that'll be my project. My next piece of project will be to take my computer document, make a copy of it, and then print that out and stick it into my book to make those first 10 pages of schedule. And then I'll sit down and I'll go into this in more detail, but I'll take each week and giving each form 2 inches of space in a column, I'll list the work for that day. So I don't list math, and I don't list movement is something we all do together, so that goes over into this common area. Bible goes into, and TBG and stuff like that gets its own column because we do that all together. But I do list, for instance, this would have been week 1 of term 2, which chapter in geography we're reading. There's map work associated with that. Which repetition they're supposed to do, what pages in a particular book, and I use a real short little abbreviation for that so I don't have to write it over and over again. This takes some time to do this for 10 weeks, but it is so helpful because when I write out assignments in the week, I can easily see if we are about on track or not on track, and I can easily see that, oh, this child has finished 2 or 3 things and I need to move something else into those slots. So I hope that's helpful in thinking about how you do the beginning part of setting up a notebook. You can do it with a spiral notebook. You can do it with a binder. I don't like binders because the pages for me, they get torn out and lost. But that's why I've switched to these sewn journal type books, and then I have one for each term. So if our homeschool were ever to get audited or something, I could very easily say, no, this is the work that we did, and here are the exams that go along with it, and y'all can go away now. So I hope that is helpful.